Imagine being trapped in the middle of the ocean. No land, no rescue, no way home. Now imagine surviving there, not for days, not for weeks, but for 438 days. Most people would call that impossible. Yet one fisherman lived through this nightmare. His name was Salvador Alvarenga. In November 2012, he left the coast of Mexico on what should have been a routine fishing trip. He wasn't expecting fame. He wasn't expecting adventure. He was simply trying to earn a living. But then the weather changed. Dark clouds gathered overhead. Powerful winds slammed into the small boat. Massive waves rose around them. Within hours, the ocean became a monster. The storm destroyed equipment. Communication systems failed. And suddenly they were alone, completely alone. The coast disappeared beyond the horizon. No one knew exactly where they were. No rescue ships were coming. No helicopters were searching. They drifted farther into the Pacific Ocean with every passing day. Food began to run out. Fresh water became dangerously scarce, and the nightmare was only beginning. At first, Alvarenga believed the nightmare would end quickly. Surely someone would find them. Surely rescue teams would arrive. Surely they just had to survive a few more days. But days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months. The ocean stretched endlessly in every direction. There was no sign of land. Hunger soon became a constant companion. The little food they had brought was gone. Every morning they woke up weaker than before. Every night they wondered if they would survive until sunrise. Then thirst became an even bigger enemy. Without fresh water, the human body begins to shut down. Their situation was becoming desperate, and desperate people are forced to do desperate things. To stay alive, Alvarenga began catching fish with his bare hands. Sometimes he caught birds that landed on the boat. Nothing was wasted. Every bite meant one more day of survival. But food alone was not enough. They still needed water, and in the middle of the ocean, fresh water is almost impossible to find. As the sun burned above them day after day, their bodies grew weaker. The chances of rescue seemed smaller with every passing moment. And then, things got even worse. The young man traveling with Alvarenga was struggling. The endless hunger, the thirst, the crushing loneliness, it was taking a terrible toll. Day after day, the two men drifted across the ocean. They watched storms roll across the horizon. They watched the sun rise, and they watched it set again. But their hope was fading. The young fisherman became weaker and weaker. His body could no longer endure the nightmare, and one day, he stopped fighting. Alvarenga was devastated. For months, the two men had shared the same struggle. Now he was completely alone, truly alone. Imagine being surrounded by nothing but water. No voices, no boats, no rescue, just silence. Many people would have given up. Many people would have accepted death. But somehow, Alvarenga kept going. He refused to surrender, even when there seemed to be no reason left to hope, even when survival seemed impossible. He chose to fight for another day. Months passed, then more months. Alvarenga stopped counting the days. Time itself seemed to disappear. The ocean became his entire world, the sky above, the water below, and a small drifting boat in between. To survive, he adapted. He caught fish with his bare hands. He hunted birds that landed on the boat, and whenever rain fell from the sky, he collected every drop he could. But the greatest threat was no longer hunger. It was loneliness. There were days when he spoke to himself, days when he spoke to the birds, days when he wondered if anyone on earth would ever see him again. Sometimes he thought about his family. Sometimes he imagined being home. Those thoughts gave him strength. But they also reminded him of everything he might never see again. Still, he survived one day, then another and another. Against all odds, he remained alive. Then one morning, after more than a year at sea, he noticed something in the distance, something he had not seen for a very, very long time. At first, Alvarenga thought he was imagining it. After so many months alone, His eyes could not be trusted, but the shape remained. It grew larger and larger. Then he realized the truth. It was land, real land, for the first time in more than a year. The nightmare was finally ending. Using what little strength he had left, Alvarenga made his way toward shore. His body was exhausted. His skin was damaged by the sun, but he was alive. When local people saw him, they could hardly believe their eyes. A thin, exhausted fisherman had appeared from the ocean. His story sounded impossible. Many people doubted him at first. How could anyone survive 438 days lost at sea? It seemed beyond belief, but investigators examined the evidence. Ocean currents, witness accounts, the timeline, everything pointed to the same conclusion. Against impossible odds, Salvador Alvarenga had survived. His story remains one of the greatest survival stories ever recorded. A reminder that the human spirit can endure far more than most people imagine, and somewhere beyond the waves, his unbelievable journey became reality. If you enjoyed this story, remember that sometimes the most incredible stories are the true ones.